Hello. Why do they doubt the kid? I'm about to prove them all wrong again. I got a low tolerance, cause they don't even know what the problem is. It's me. You waiting on the boy to fail, then hold your breath and face your death. Cause you play a roulette with each step I progress, no less. Go ahead and place your bet. Cause we know where we at, we know we top tier. Cause all the hate that you bring, we know it stops here. I'm taking off like a rocket here, ain't stopping here. It's strange how they cannot see the future, but see profit here. Wait up, we gon' always win. I can't take no loss. My team hold nowhere else, no. Aiming for the top, can't make it by myself.
I'd love to see him brought to justice. I'll tell you what, I think Adam Schiff is one of the lowest of the low. I would love to see him brought to justice. He's a dishonest, crooked guy. I don't know about the individual charge, if that even happens. But Adam Schiff is a serious lowlife.
All right, obviously we had some problems. I appreciate y'all sticking through it. We got to make some changes. I made a production error earlier today that has cost us in a couple of ways, and that's on me. I do appreciate your patience. So that's Trump. That's Trump talking about Adam Schiff. Nice try, Don. Nice try. We see you, Don. All of a sudden, he's talking about bring Adam Schiff to justice. Bring Adam Schiff to justice. That's what you want to talk about? That's what you want to talk about. No, we've got other things to talk about, important things to talk about. All right? We're going to talk about Epstein. We're going to talk about this effort in Texas to redistrict. We're going to talk about all of that. We're not going to talk about Adam Schiff. And just so we're clear, this ain't Friday, but I'm going to fact check you real quick, Don. There are allegations against Adam Schiff. No proof of fraud, no charges filed, no DOJ investigation, just what Trump is saying. And what is he saying? He's talking about, amplifying an old FHFA referral. That's the Federal Housing Finance Agency. An old FHFA referral claiming that Schiff may have misrepresented his Maryland home to secure better mortgage terms. Schiff has denied this. This is an absolute nothing burger. No investigation, no files, nothing. Just things Trump is saying. He's floundering. He's flopping. He's desperately grasping at something to get your attention away from the things that he doesn't want you thinking about, like Epstein, and some other stuff. A recession bill that's going to get through the House. They're going to try to get through the Senate. I'm going to talk about that. And, this Texas, the congressional districting in Texas is now where we need to put our focus real quick. Not Adam Schiff, and some bull crap, old charges of misrepresenting. No. We're going to talk about this Texas redistricting. That's what we're going to talk about. Okay? That's what I want to focus on. So in the face of all this flooding on July 4th, hold on one second. So July 4th flooding, you know about that. Obviously a big disaster, and it spurned a special session in the Texas House. Okay, they had a special session called in the Texas legislature to address the flood relief, emergency preparedness, and other storm-related issues following the devastation on July 4th, okay? So they were actually going to do something about it. The July 4th flooding happened. We know about it, 110 deaths, hundreds missing. You guys know the story, and we're keeping you apprised on that. So they called a special session, all right? Now, here's where they took this. Sometime between the July 4th special session being called and July 9th, the DOJ writes a letter suggesting that the Texas districts may be in violation of civil laws. Okay, just a quick letter. Now, right now. Not when they made them or anytime in between. All of a sudden, right this second, DOJ writes this letter. They take this letter, Abbott does. He takes this letter from the DOJ. Hey, we may be unlawful. Our districts may be unlawful. We have to redistrict again, and we're going to jam it. We're going to amend it into this special session to address the flooding needs. On July 9th, Abbott added this amendment to include redistricting in this session. Just like that, amended it right to that flood relief. Jammed it in there. Has nothing to do with it. But hey, we've got this letter from the DOJ all of a sudden saying we may be unlawful. We may be in violation. So we have to address it right now. They are using this tragedy to jam redistricting into this session. That is the despicable nature. You know, Trump tried to equate being against the Iran bombing with disrespecting pilots. Then later on, when we wanted to know about the Epstein files, you know, when Pam Bondi says it's on her desk and then they don't release the information, he says, if you're asking about the Epstein files, you're disrespecting the flood victims. This is disrespecting the flood victims. You call a special session because of this, because of the flooding and the devastation, great. And then you jam redistricting into it. Despicable. Absolutely despicable. And how rare? See, now, redistricting happens with the census. Every 10 years, you can redistrict because the census changes, right? You got to redistrict a little bit, possibly because the population changed in districts. That's when you can do it. How rare is it to do it mid-decade? Pretty damn rare. Pretty rare. And guess who is the one doing it? Mid-decade. Finding reasons. Sneaking things into their state legislature. It's the Republicans. In 2003, after gaining control of the legislature, Republicans redrew, and this was in Texas, Republicans redrew congressional maps mid-cycle. The move led to 5 GOP pickups in 2004, but also late lawsuits and major Democratic walkouts. And in 2011 through 2013, the maps were again revised after the 2010 census, prompting another wave of lawsuit over racial bias. Okay, people have opinions about this. Before I continue to dig in a little bit, let's hear from Jeffries.
These people have zero credibility in terms of the issues that they're allegedly championing on behalf of the American people. If you believed in your ideas and the power of your issues, then why are you trying to cheat now in Texas just like you did in North Carolina? The problem that Republicans confront is that the Texas congressional map is already gerrymandered.
Gerrymandered.
And so this gerrymander may actually turn into a dummy mander because they are going to create a situation where 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Republicans who are currently in safe districts are going to be on the front line of our efforts to flip seats, particularly in a midterm election where Donald Trump is deeply unpopular and his signature one big ugly bill is deeply unpopular. Imagine a group of people, this is how corrupt they are, who in the middle of a search and rescue operation that is taking place in Texas right now, dozens of children drowned to death. And some of that has to do with incompetence in the Texas state government and incompetence in the Trump administration. And instead of actually trying to be there for the people of Texas and the Hill Country, children at summer camp who's lost their lives, they call a special session. And the main reason for that special session is to try to steal the midterm elections by rigging the Texas congressional map. These people are a complete and total embarrassment.
I completely agree. It's almost like supervillain level scheming. To immediately, in the face of this disaster, come up with this scheme quickly enough. This disaster happens, and the DOJ letter comes out right after the disaster, with Trump talking about it, and we've got sounds of Trump we're going to play in a second. He's all of a sudden all over this. So you've got between July 4th and July 9th, you've got this DOJ letter. Hey, hold on, Texas, you may be in violation with these districts, with your maps, and jamming it into this session to address the flood crisis. The crisis happens. You come up with the scheme. You call the special session. You get the letter from the DOJ, and you jam this bullcrap redistricting into this session. Bing, bang, boom, boom. You see the scheme right in front of you. It doesn't take Batman, the investigator and crime fighter, to figure this one out. It's right in your face. They don't care. They don't care. Trump did talk about it.
On Texas, how many more seats do you want the Republicans to draw?
5.
And then what if
He's all over it.
California, New York, Illinois, and other blue states
Yeah, well, that's
decide to do
okay
this?
too, but 5. I think we get 5. And there could be some other states. We're going to get another 3 or 4 or 5 in addition. Texas would be the biggest one, and
So
that'll be 5.
are you calling then for a complete redrawing of the congressional map ahead of next year?
Just a very simple redrawing.
Just
we
a
pick
simple-
up 5 seats.
And
But
where
we
is
have a couple of other states where we'll pick up seats also.
You know, gerrymandering used to be a little dirty secret, right? They'd try to shove it through without the public noticing and just redraw them and go about their business. And for those of you who may not know, and I know a lot of you do, just real quick, the origins of the term gerrymandering, the origins. 1812, the then governor of Massachusetts, Elbridge Gerry, redrew the Senate districts to favor his then Democratic Republican Party over the rival Federalists. Okay? One district in Essex County was so bizarrely shaped that it looked like a salamander, so they applied it to his name, Gerrymander. Gerrymander. It was one of the first blatant examples of manipulating district lines for political gain. And it worked. His party did gain power, but he was mocked nationally. And ironically, he lost re-election. Ironically, he didn't gerrymander it enough to keep his own gubernatorial seat. I pulled this. We played this. Randy and I played this years ago, and I just thought it was awesome. And it's, of course, Robert Reich. He's amazing. He's an amazing mind who you should be comfortable leaning on. With any political matters that you might not have a grasp on, go to him. Go to him. We went to him. Let's check this out real quick.
Now, here are 16 black dots and 12 white squares. If districts were not gerrymandered, they might look like this, and 3 out of 4 would have black dot majorities. But after gerrymandering, 3 out of 4 have white square majorities.
See how that works? Crazy shaped districts so they can consolidate votes, draw on racial bias, draw from one voting base and give it to another. Move it around so the numbers work out for you and you pick up more seats. And yes, there are laws preventing this. This guy's talking about it. He's talking about it on the lawn. Yeah, we're going to pick up 5 seats by gerrymandering. That's who this guy is. He has no idea the laws involving these things. He has no idea how despicable a practice this is viewed as. How many times it's been admonished, laws written to prevent it. He'll just go out there and say it. Yeah, we're going to gerrymander. We're going to gerrymander and pick up 5 seats. I'm all about it. He came with that talking point pretty damn quick. This little scheme of theirs, it unfolded fairly quick, and it's so obviously laid out. It's pathetic. Usually this stuff is done secretively. In the state legislature, quietly, they'll get them, a majority will switch, and the first thing a Republican majority, and yes, I say Republicans, because the Republicans are the ones that do it. Go look at the history, and they'll switch to a Republican majority in a state, and they immediately redistrict. First thing they do, if they can get away with it. Not everybody has, but there are laws preventing it. There are. The Voting Rights Act of 1965, the VRA, prohibits voting practices or district maps that discriminate upon the basis of race or minority status. And that has been recently weakened In Shelby County versus Holder in 2013, the Supreme Court gutted Section 5, which had required certain states to get pre-clearance, federal pre-clearance, before changing maps. Gone. No federal oversight at all. States go do what they want. Now, Article 1, Section 2 of the U.S. Constitution requires that U.S. House districts be apportioned by population, which courts use to ensure rough equality size. But there is no federal ban on partisan gerrymandering. There have been state level laws and court rulings. Since there's no federal ban on it, there have been state level laws, right? Some states have tried to take care of it. In Florida, the state constitution bans partisan gerrymandering. North Carolina's state Supreme Court has flipped back and forth, recently allowing partisan gerrymandering again, which they did and is referred to in one of these clips. Ohio and Michigan passed reforms creating independent redistricting commissions, but enforcement has been a little spotty, a little shaky. And in California, Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission draws the maps, and it is a national model for reform in this area. California, go figure. National model in it. The enforcement, however, like I said, shaky, dubious. In 2015, the Florida Supreme Court ruled that the congressional maps violated the Fair Districts Amendment. That was in 2015 because they were drawn to favor the Republicans. And then in 2022, guess who? Guess who? DeSanctimonious. He ignored the amendment and forced through a heavily gerrymandered map. And the courts are still sorting it out. I'm just going to do this, and I'll let the courts figure it out later after the elections that were affected are over, right? Once we've gotten the desired results in 2024, you can still quibble about it long after, but we got our results. I forced the map through. Well done, Ron. Just making America worse every time he gets a chance. Just more despicable, more unsavory. Ron is the worst. God, I can't stand that he represents us. I really can't. I hate hearing him talk more than I hate hearing Trump talk. Every now and then, Trump might, give me a funny nickname or something. And sometimes Trump lets us in on what he's thinking, which is usually to his detriment. But Ron, just a terrible human being who I don't really enjoy hearing speak, to be honest with you. There's more. Okay, more people have, opinions on this because it's such an obvious move. It's such a reprehensible move to do this on the back of the July 4th tragedy. To jam this in, and Abbott, he's all about it. You think they're not in lockstep? The DOJ, Trump's wishes. 5 seats with the slim majority they have right now. 5 seats is gigantic. That is monumental. That makes all the difference. To pick up 5 seats for the Republicans, it would make their lives so much easier. Their agenda so much more fluid and easily enacted. Of course, to the detriment of us.
It's time for a quick break, then we break some more. You're listening to Brett Breaks Things. Brett Breaks Things, fighting for America one mic drop at a time.
As has been indicated, democracy is under assault in a way that will impact the quality of life of the people of Texas and beyond. Who's in office matters. This is a desperate attempt by Republicans who are running scared based on the fact they have an unpopular president, an unpopular one big ugly bill, and an unpopular agenda that has ripped health care away from millions of Americans, stealing food from hungry children, veterans, and seniors. And all of this is being done in order to reward billionaires with massive tax breaks. This agenda has done nothing by Republicans to lower the high cost of living in the United States of America. Costs aren't going down, inflation is going up, and the quality of life of the American people is getting worse. Republicans have chosen to respond to this by trying to gerrymander and rig the Texas congressional map and the midterm elections. It's important to remember, as Susan indicated, There has been tremendous overperformance in midterm elections by Democrats when we've found ourselves in that situation before. Donald Trump has ordered Texas Republicans to try to produce 5 additional seats. I have no expectation that they're going to show any political courage. Texas Republicans are likely going to continue to act like political punks and bend the knee to Donald Trump's extreme agenda. In doing so, they will jeopardize their own electoral careers.
Hakeem Jeffries is not interested in talking about Adam Schiff. Okay? We're not interested in talking about Adam Schiff, Don. Sorry. How about we talk about what did I do to get this karmic backlash? I mean, the lights, the logo, the opening, and now I spilled coffee on my shirt, and the break just dumped half my coffee cup on my shirt. If I hurt you out there, reach out to me. Reach out to me in my personal life. Let me know how I hurt you. I hurt somebody. I did something. I either kicked a cat or walked under a ladder. Maybe I didn't help an old lady across the street. I don't know what I did, but I did something. The karmic backlash is real. Moving. Yeah, Hakeem doesn't want to talk about Adam Schiff. Nobody wants to talk about Adam Schiff, bro. We want to talk about you gerrymandering the state of Texas once again. But Jeffries is talking about this could cost him. And he's not the only one talking about this could cost them. I like what Gavin Newsom has to say regarding this redistricting. I like it. Jeffries had some other interesting things to say. We're going to get there in time. Let me get there.
I think there should be a national framework for independent redistricting, period, full stop. I mean, gerrymandering, and let's be fair, we've seen this weaponized by both parties for decades. But these guys, this is a whole nother level of weaponization coming from the right. And what Trump did today is the ultimate tell. They feel they're on the ropes. They feel they're behind. They feel they're vulnerable with the big, beautiful bill. They feel like the momentum is shifting away from them, and it's Speaker Jeffries, it's not Speaker Johnson. So on that basis, they got to rig the game. You got to change the game because you can't win by the existing rules because these guys are playing by a different set of rules. And so from my perspective, if we're going to play fair in a world that is wholly unfair, we may have the higher moral ground, but the ground is shifting from underneath us. And I think we have to wake up to that reality. And
yeah, see, what he says there interests me. Okay, and what Jeffrey said interests me in this regard. He said we may have the higher moral ground, but that ain't going to get it done. And one thing Jeffrey said was, you know, the people will not stand for it. I got news for you, Hakeem. The people have stood for it a number of times. And frankly, I don't think you will see this redistricting reflected in the midterms in terms of people voting against it, right? Like, I am offended what they did with the Texas districts, and so I'm voting against them. I think that would be limited at best. I think the people would probably stand for it. We've been standing for quite a bit for a while now. And my point is, you have to do something. The Democrats in the House and in the Senate have to do something. The representatives in the states themselves have to do something. Saying the people won't stand for it, hopefully the people you're talking about are the people who can actually do something about it. Because us, the people, we don't have a lot of say in gerrymandering of districts. So please don't rely on the people won't stand for it. Yes, those of us who are aware of it are pissed. And it's despicable. And we see it for what it is. But we've stood for much worse in terms of status quo, right? What can you expect from this administration? Not much you can do about it, but go vote Democratic when you get your next chance. That's not enough, Hakeem. It's not enough. Okay? We need you and your colleagues to not stand for it. Trump, I mean, he's just out here saying it. He's just out here being wide open about it.
Which state besides Texas would you like Republicans to gerrymander?
Say it again?
Which state besides Texas would you like Republicans to redraw the congressional?
Well, there's about 4 of them. I'll let you figure that one out, but we have about 4 of them. In 3 cases, it's 1. and in one case it's 2 or 3. And Texas would be 5.
Are you concerned California will turn around and do the same thing?
Well, we'll fight them. You know, they're so corrupt in California, you never know what's going to happen. But we've done pretty well in the courts in California, as you see. We're batting about 1,000, ultimately. We start off a little slow, and then we get a lot of hits.
Yeah. He's just right out here. Just right in your face. He's right in your face with it. We're just going to gerrymander. Coming from the president. I don't think I've ever heard. I know we've heard. Biden has talked about gerrymandering. He's mentioned it from the presidency. I can't quite remember Obama or Clinton, talking about it. But this is definitely the first time I remember a president speaking favorably about it, saying, yeah. Yeah, we're going to gerrymander. Pick up some seats. No big deal. We can get some over here, over there. 4 other ones maybe. We'll see. It's right in your face. There's no denying it now. No denying it. No clandestine, agenda being pushed through state legislature. This is your president saying we're going to gerrymander. Jeffries had more to say. This also interests me. I like what Jeffries had to say here.
Republicans are writing their own rules and playing by their own rules. Should Democrats not then be willing to play the same rules and have in the states that you do control the legislature and the maps to be attempting the same tactics?
All options will continue to be on the table as it relates to our efforts to push back legislatively and legally in Texas as it relates to this illegal, unconstitutional, and egregious effort to rig the elections and gerrymander the maps in Texas. With respect to what happens in other states, I think that I'll let Governor Gavin Newsom, Governor Hochul, and others continue to speak for themselves on this issue. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. I like what you have to say there. I like what Gavin Newsom had to say. Yeah, we got the moral high ground, but what has that gotten us? We get the moral high ground on a lot of stuff. We had the moral high ground in 2024, did we not? After Kamala ran a near flawless, although abbreviated, campaign. Chock full of moral high ground. What did it get us? What does the moral high ground ever get us? When the Republicans play dirty and we take the high road, they get over on us. They get over. And it is time to start fighting fire with fire. Sometimes I wouldn't, I'm not an ends justifying the means kind of guy. Not normally. But sometimes the situation demands more drastic means. You want to talk about gerrymandering back at them? I think I'm there. 4 years ago, maybe a little more, you asked me that question, I might have said, no. That makes us them. That lowers us, stoops to their level. We can't do that. We can't match that energy. Now, in the face of what this administration is turning our government into, and all the power being consolidated to the executive branch, being run by a wholly corrupted and incompetent con man? Yeah, I think I'm there. You want to say we want to do some emergency redistricting? Come up with a reason to push it through some state legislature? I'm not proud of it, but I think I'm there. I think it is time for you boys to start fighting fire with fire. I don't know how my audience feels about that. I really don't. I would be interested to find out if you're with me on this. Or if you're like, no, Brett, no, you can't do it. You can't take the bait. You can't lower yourself. Or are you like, yes, Brett, finally. Let's get the W. Moral high ground has gotten us nothing. Let's get some wins out here and return America to being America and not the United States of Trump. I think I'm there. Crockett's there.
What will happen if they gerrymander? Can you talk on that? Thank you.
Yeah, so first of all, it hasn't quite been said clearly that Texas has always been found to be intentionally discriminatory. And so I want y'all to understand the makeup of my state. The state is a majority minority state. And what this legislature historically has done is what they plan to do again, is to dilute the voices of people of color in order to make sure that they can get to where they're trying to go. We saw this Department of Justice decided to put out a letter, and what did they do? We only have 4 seats that are represented by black folk, where the vast majority of the people that get to decide who they have represent them are black. They decided to attack 3 of the 4 seats that we have in the state. They decided to go after a Latina. They are specifically deciding to splinter the communities of common interest, as well as just blatantly say, we are going to dilute minority voices.
What she's saying is, in that state, the amount of minority votes is not represented properly by the amount of seats held by minorities. 4 of them. And they now want those 3 or 4 back. They want them back. They want 100% minority-free Texas legislature. That is their goal. That is their aim. She sees it for what it is. And she is calling it out. How do you feel about it? Is it time to fight fire with fire? Because I think I'm there. Gavin's there. Jeffries is there. Who else might come along with us and really start to fight back? Get some of these seats back. It matters. It matters. With a narrow majority in the House, it matters big time.
You're back with Brett Breaks Things, because democracy doesn't defend itself.
What did she tell you about the review? And specifically, did she tell you at all that your name appeared in the file?
No, she's given us
Watch
just a very
Levitt.
quick briefing, and in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen. And I would say that, these files were made up by Comey. They were made up by Obama. They were made up by the Biden. We went through years of that with the Russia hoax, with all of the different things that we had to go through. We've gone through years of it. But she's handled it very well, and it's going to be up to her. Whatever she thinks is credible, she should release.
How does it feel, Carolyn, to be helpless as an idiot sits and represents your point of view? I feel like it's pretty funny that the little roles were reversed there. Carolyn cringing as Donnie Boy speaks on Epstein. Yeah, I want to talk about this, Epstein. That reporter wants to talk about, Trump, rather. I want to talk about it, Epstein. That reporter wants to talk about Epstein. Trump doesn't want to talk about it. Trump wants to talk about Adam Schiff. Some nothing burger story about Adam Schiff with no charges, no investigation, just some bullcrap. He wants to dangle whatever the heck he can in front of your face, whatever carrot he can dangle to try to get you to run in a certain direction, because his perception is reality. And boy, did he try. Man, did he give it a shot. I'm telling you, he did a line of Adderall mixed with Ritalin and then shot this Truth Social post out. Holy crap. Now, I'm going to read quickly. and then I'm going to highlight a couple things from this. Because I know you guys aren't on Truth Social. It is up to us to get this, to aggregate this and bring it to you. A lot of this, he posts so much, so many times a day that much of it we don't get to. But this one grabbed our attention. The radical left Democrats have hit pay dirt again. Just like with the fake and fully discredited Steele dossier, the lying 51 intelligence agents, and the laptop from hell, which the Dems swore had come from Russia. No, it came from Hunter Biden's bathroom. And even the Russia scam itself, a totally fake and made-up story in order to hide crooked Hillary Clinton's big loss in the 2016 presidential election. These scams and hoaxes are all the Democrats are good at. It's all they have. They are no good at governing, no good at policy, and no good at picking winning candidates. Also, unlike Republicans, they stick together like glue, which I found interesting he made that point. Now listen to this piece. Their new scam is what we will forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax, and my past supporters have bought into this bull bleep. He says bull, hook, line, and sinker. Really? What are you saying, Don? What are you saying? That if you're interested in this Epstein bull crap, that you're a past supporter? Are you disassociating yourself with anybody who may be interested in this? You better be careful. Your approval rating is 40% right now. You better be careful. He goes on, they haven't learned their lesson and probably never will, even after being conned by the lunatic left for 8 long years. I've had more success in 6 months than perhaps any president in our country's history. As soon as he says that, I'm just Lincoln, Washington, the FDR, the number of presidents who just have been monumental successes from the White House, and he has the gall, the gumption. Let these, here we go. He doubles down. Let these weaklings continue forward and do the Democrats' work. Don't even think about talking of our incredible and unprecedented success because I don't want their support anymore. You listening, MAGA? You listening? If you care about this Epstein thing, and you all did before your team got appointed in all the influential positions in government to do this work, you were all about it then. You were on board with Pam Bondi. You were on board with Cash Patel. You were on board with Dan Bongino. You were on board with all of the mouthpieces and the podcasters, the Charlie Kirks and the Megyn Kellys and all of them. If you are still on board with wanting to know who is on that list, who has been blackmailed, who's on the flight logs, who spent time there, if you still care about these things, you're a past supporter. He is not interested in you. He's not interested in your support. You're fired. You're fired. He talks about this further.
Why do you think your supporters in particular have been so interested in the Epstein story?
I don't understand
about how it's been handled.
I don't understand it. Why they would be so interested. He's dead for a long time. He was never a big factor in terms of life. I don't understand what the interest or what the fascination is. I really don't. And the credible information's been given. Don't forget, we went through years of the Mueller witch hunt and all of the different things, the Steele dossier, which was all fake. All that information was fake. But I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff. It's sordid, but it's boring. And I don't understand why it keeps going. I think, well, really only pretty bad people, including fake news, want to keep something like that going. But credible information, let them give it. Anything that's credible, I would say, let them have it.
It's boring. Only evil people and the fake news are interested in this. Now you're evil. First they came for blah, 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 and I wasn't blah, blah, blah. Then they came for, until they came for you, MAGA. Now you're evil. Not only does he not want your support, you're evil. And by the way, you remember Howard Lutnick, the guy standing next to him, the one that said, if your grandma gets kicked off from Medicaid and complains, we can correctly identify her as one of the fraudsters. Real Americans, they take it on the chin. Get kicked off your health care? Real Americans don't complain. Only fraudsters would have something to say about that. That's Howard Lutnick, standing there next to Trump as he bullcraps his way through an Epstein question. By the way, Howard Lutnick used to live next door to Jeffrey Epstein. Next door. He's also bought property out of Epstein's trust. A more delicate birds of a feather. Let's just, I mean, again, you don't have to be Batman, right? The rogue detective to start putting these pieces together. Lutnick's standing there laughing. Yeah, if you care about Epstein, you're evil. Yeah. You're evil, not Lutnick, not Trump, you. This one, there's a couple real interesting sounds out of the Hill. I like this one. Dick Durbin.
Do you now want to see the files released?
Absolutely. Leader Jeffries is right. Either they misled the American people with this conspiracy theory for years, or they're covering it up now. I joined with Senator Chris Van Hollen from Maryland during the appropriations process last week. We offered an amendment together, and the amendment said that they should preserve the evidence of the Epstein investigation and release it to the American people. It passed by a voice vote. The Republicans didn't want a record vote on the issue, but it really gets to the bottom line. Let's let the American people see the truth.
Let's do it. Couldn't agree more, Dick. Couldn't agree more. Ted Lieu, I'm gonna hit these. I'm gonna hit you with these. And then let you know where we stand in this.
Of Jeffrey Epstein's client list. In fact, she said that Jeffrey Epstein's client list is, quote, sitting on my desk right now. Where is that client list? What is Attorney General Pam Bondi hiding? She needs to release the Epstein files as soon as possible. I talked about the Epstein files under the Biden administration. I'm talking about it under the Trump administration. This is a case of the powerful protecting the powerful. We need to have those files released. I also note that the Epstein files that have already been released show that Trump is all over the files. He's in multiple pictures with Jeffrey Epstein. There's multiple videos of Trump with Jeffrey Epstein. There are plane logs of Trump on Epstein's plane. There are statements by Trump about Epstein. There are court pleadings of alleged victims of Epstein naming Trump. So we need to have these Epstein files released.
Got to have them released. So where are we on having them released? Now, Ro Khanna, he had proposed an amendment to have a vote in the House on releasing the files, transparency. Okay? This was in the Rules Committee. The Rules Committee had to vote on whether to have a vote, right? That famous Rules Committee we've been talking so much about. They voted no. It lost 5-7 to bring it to the House floor. Okay? Khanna wasn't done.
Last night, the Speaker's Rules Committee voted to block my amendment that called for the full release of the Epstein files while protecting the victim's identity. Let's just be clear. They voted to protect rich and powerful men who were abusing, assaulting, and abandoning young women. That's what this vote is about. A nation that chooses impunity for the rich and the powerful at the expense of our children is a nation that has lost its moral purpose. So you ask, why did they vote this way? Let's speak plainly. Because these rich and powerful men donate to the politicians in Washington, D.C., play golf with the elites in Washington, D.C., they are foreign leaders who we don't want to offend. They interact with our intelligence agencies that we don't want to disobey. There is something rotten in Washington.
Oh, totally agree, Ro. So where do we stand now? Even though the House Rules Committee voted it down 5-7, the Democrats in the House, they tried to force the amendment through on the floor. They tried to force a vote to debate. Okay, right through the House floor. That got shot down as well, as they barely shot it down 211 to 210 to debate whether to vote on it again. Okay, full vote in the House. They wanted a vote to debate on whether to have a vote on it, right? Do you get that? They didn't even let the vote to debate go through. 211 to 210, done. Done. And what does Tim Burchett, of all people, have to say about this? I thought this was really interesting.
Should there be an investigation or a special counsel investigation?
I don't know. I'm not an attorney. I just find them guilty and hang them publicly. I mean, that's not over the top either. I'm ready. I'm over it. It disgusts me.
Republican.
I'm big on clarity and transparency. And, you know, that's good reason people don't trust government, either party.
But you don't believe what the Justice Department is saying?
I don't know. No, I don't.
Nope.
I don't. I don't trust them.
I don't trust the Justice Department. This is interesting to me. Real quick, I can't expound. We don't have a ton of time because of the difficulties, but that right there shows a bit of a crack. A Tim Burchett, in my mind, it was inevitable that he was going to bump heads against these podcasters, these Fox News analysts, these goose steppers, these people who are completely unqualified to hold these positions in our government are going to bump up against these professional politicians, experienced politicians, people who earned their spot on Capitol Hill. How long can these Republicans with just a shred of dignity continue to work hand in hand with people like Kash Patel and Dan Bongino and Pam Bondi and Pete Hegseth and Kristi Noem? How long do you expect these groups to work well together? We're seeing a crack. And where does this stand now? There's a new amendment, okay? Now, it's a resolution, actually. I'm sorry. It's a resolution. It's bipartisan. Ro Khanna and Massey together gaining bipartisan support for a resolution. Transparency Act Resolution 581. They're putting it together. Now, here's the thing. Once they officially submit this resolution, now it's not a law, okay? It's a resolution. There's a difference. Now, the House doesn't have to immediately take up the resolution, but in 7 days, if they do not make a decision to take up the resolution, it will force a discharge petition. After 7 days, it'll force a discharge petition, which will go out. And the discharge petition needs 218 signatures to bypass House leadership and compel a vote in the House. Transparency Act. House Resolution 581. And what are they asking for in this? It'll mandate the DOJ and the FBI to release all unclassified documents within 30 days. Flight logs, immunity agreements, FBI files, communications, names of implicated individuals, and any evidence of a potential cover-up. Redactions can only be made for privacy-sensitive content, like victims' identities, medical records, child abuse imagery, with written justification required. And the Attorney General Pam Bondi must also submit a report to Congress within 15 days of the release, summarizing disclosures, redactions, and naming any government officials or PEPs mentioned. What are PEPs? They are politically exposed persons, foreign heads of state, senior politicians, judges, military officials, individuals in high-level positions within their own country, ministers, parliament members, top judiciary, or government and military officials. Those are PEPs. Okay. So this bipartisan effort is making its way. They've got 7 days to decide on this resolution. If not, the discharge petition takes place, and it needs 218 signatures. That's it. 218 signatures forces a vote to give us transparency. This is a bipartisan effort. That word has got to scare the crap out of Mike Johnson and this Trump administration. We may get a little bit of justice here soon. Maybe.
They'll try to repair the narrative, but Brett Breaks Things will be back tomorrow to break it all down.